Good morning. I'd like to bring the June 5th, 2019 Planning Advisory Commission to order. The official start of the meeting is 9 a.m. and that is where we are. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. I'd like to first of all ask those in the audience, which we don't have a very large audience, to turn off their cell phones or put your cell phones on silent, please. And I remind those in the audience and those that are watching on television, this is the first hearing of any rezoning, text change, or special exception request that's brought before us today. We will first hear a reading of the staff report for the case by the planning staff and ask the applicant to provide a brief overview of the request. We will then give the opportunity for anyone in the audience to speak for or against that request or to inquire about the said request. Commissioners will have time for any needed discussion on the case. Once a motion is made and seconded by the commission, a vote will take place and a recommendation will be rendered. The case will go back to the planning department for their independent recommendation. If a favorable recommendation is given, then the case is then forwarded to the city council with the two independent recommendations. If the planning department makes a recommendation for denial, the applicant will have 10 days for the receipt of a letter to denial to notify the clerk of council they're requesting to be placed on city council's agenda. The city council of Columbus will hold a public meeting. First reading, said council shall consider the case, review PAC and planning department recommendations, and hear discussion on the matter. Council will make a final decision at the second public meeting, and that's the second reading. All right, well, our first item on the agenda is minutes, and I hope everyone received those by email. Has everyone had a chance to review those? Are there any changes that need to be made? All right, well, we'll just consider that acceptance there. So that brings us to our first case this morning, first and only case, which is a it's a text amendment change. It's REZN 04190664, and this is a request for a text amendment to amend the text of the Unified Development Ordinance, or the UDO, in regards to Table 3.1.1 by permitting self-storage, self-service storage, and warehousing and distribution general. So I'll ask Mr. John Renfro if you will give us the staff report first.
Yes, sir. This is a request to amend the text of the UDO in regards to Table 3.1.1, self-service storage and warehousing and distribution general, to read as follows. Explanation of revisions, amend Table 3.1.1 by permitting self-service storage and warehousing and distribution general with a special exception in the following districts, and those would be in the UPT, the Uptown and CRD Central Riverfront districts. For the self-service storage and warehousing and distribution general with a special exception. Explanation of revisions, amend Table 3.2.58, self-service storage by updating requirements as it relates to CRD and UPT zoning districts, and I will touch on the areas that have been updated. Under Section D, number 1, the maximum size will go from 250 to 300 in the proposed, and then an additional number 3 will be added under Section D, and that will read as UPT and CRD zoning districts. Self-service storage facilities in the UPT and CRD zoning districts shall be internal and multi-story only.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Renfro. Commissioners, y'all have any questions? Mr. Dudley?
Just wondering about the increase in maximum storage area size from 250 to 300 square feet. I assume that would match what the applicant wants to do, but it would also affect all the other areas in town where it's already permitted. Any reason to think that would be an issue?
It should be an issue. We looked at a few other ordinances and text amendments while we were doing this from other cities, and 300 tended to be the range for that, and we just wanted to kind of match up with that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Any other questions? All right, if the applicant would come forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record, we would appreciate it.
Okay, my name is Ken Henson. I live at 620
Ken, can you see if you have a switch to put your microphone on there? Thank you.
It's almost idiot-proof if you hit the button, isn't it?
No, well, it should have been on, but that's fine.
I'm Ken Henson. I live at 612 Broadway in downtown Columbus, and I, in a partnership, own a building at the corner of 13th Street and 3rd Avenue. It was originally Berry Brothers Furniture Company, then it became Maxwell Brothers Furniture. It's a 4-story brick building right there above Midas Muffler there that fronts on Veterans. Historically, it was used as a furniture store. Comm bought it and used it for warehousing. They did some refinishing of some of their equipment in there and other storage. As you know, Comm was bought out 2 or 3 years ago, and I have owned the building since then. It's currently occupied on the ground level as some office space, but the rest of it is still storage space, warehouse space. So the idea is that with new apartments downtown, we might need some self-storage. But I don't think anybody wants to put mini storage units all over uptown. And that's why they've got this drafted so that it's internal multi-story. So this would be internal entrances. You wouldn't see anything on the outside other than there'd be a sign on the building that said multi-storage or self-storage. So that's the idea here. And we hope that you'll approve the text amendment so that we can look at this as an option for that space.
Thank you, Mr. Henson. Commissioners, y'all have any questions?
Would there be any opposition to adding existing structures only?
I personally wouldn't have a problem with that. But somebody else may want to come in and build. They'd still have to get a special exception. Somebody else might want to build in UPT. They might want to build a multi-story, internally controlled self-storage. So somebody might want to build a new one. I don't think that I would.
And really, by saying multi-story, I mean they could not do a single-story self-storage.
That's correct.
That's not the way it's written.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I think John and them have done a great job trying to find a way to work within the current UDO to find a way to make this work. And I think the special exception idea that they came up with and the research that they've done to come up with 300 feet, because most of these companies that are doing this, they want to have 300 square foot units. So I think, I thank John and them for everything they've done in making this work out.
All right. Any other questions, commissioners? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well, I would be remiss in not saying is anyone here for or against it, but you're the only one that's here, so I open up the floor for a motion. Mr. Greenblatt.
Yes, regarding case REZN-04-19-0664, text amendment change to the UDO, I move that we approve based on the staff report.
All right. We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed by the same, and it's unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Henson.
Thank you.
Mr. Henson, your phone fell behind the chair there.
That's correct.
Oh, gosh, thank you. I can get all the way to my car.
All right, new business. We welcome newly appointed Commissioner Larry Derby. He has an excused absence due to the fact he has people in from out of town at his place of employment. Anything else, Mr. Renfro?
No current old business.
All right, we do have a case scheduled for June 19th, or is that
That has been
delayed?
delayed.
Okay.
As
All right,
of
so
right
it
now,
looks
we
like-
don't have a case.
Looks like y'all are clear for the rest of the month, which is a good thing. Do we have any cases for July the 3rd that you know of?
That meeting is canceled.
Okay,
So
very good.
the next possible meeting will be the third Wednesday in July.
Okay, very good. Well, we're adjourned. Thank you.